Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a whole stack of sources, academic papers, historical texts, you name it, and we distill it all down into a fascinating shortcut for you to get properly informed.
And this week, we are going deep on a subject that is so foundational. I mean, it's so ubiquitous. You almost certainly have some in your kitchen right now. We're talking about garlic.
We are. And our sources cover, well, everything. We're looking at ancient history, complex organic chemistry, all the way through to modern clinical studies on the gut microbiome and, crucially, food safety.
That's right. This isn't just about a cooking ingredient. We're talking about allium sativum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to get past the fact that it just, tastes good and to really explore its validated therapeutic potential, a potential that's fascinated healers for, well, millennia.
To kind of set the scene, our sources bring up Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine. He had that famous line, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." But he wasn't just being vague. He specifically prescribed garlic for a whole range of diseases. And what's really stunning is that modern science, with 21st century tech, is now confirming so many of those ancient benefits.
So that's our deep dive today. We're going to unpack the chemistry, look at its influence on our gut, and this is critical. Get into the safety precautions you need to know when you're using it at home. This isn't just a spice, it's a biological marvel.
It really is.
Okay, so let's start at the foundation. Before we can even talk about the benefits, we have to understand what this plant actually is. Chemically, botanically, what are we dealing with?
Let's unpack it. So garlic, or allium sativum, is part of the amaryllis family, the Amaryllidaceae.
Which includes things like onions and leeks, right?
Exactly. Leeks, chives, onions, shallots. It's a real powerhouse of flavor.
Yeah.
And they're all characterized by these volatile sulfur compounds, which is where they get that distinct pungency.
And the structure we're all familiar with is the bulb, or the head.
Right, the head. And that's made up of anywhere from, say, 4 to 20 individual cloves or bulblets. That's what we actually cook with.
And the sources point out that even within what we call true garlic, there's an important distinction to make.
Oh, absolutely. There are two main types. First, you have soft-neck garlic. This is what you'll find in most grocery stores. It's grown commercially, it has that soft central stem you can braid, stores for a really long time, and has lots of smaller, tightly packed cloves.
And the other kind?
The other is hard-neck garlic. This is often the favorite for, home growers and chefs. It produces a rigid flowering stalk in the spring called a scape.
Oh, I've seen those at farmers markets.
Exactly. And the bulb itself usually has fewer but much larger cloves arranged around that central stalk.
Okay, and just to clear up one common point of confusion, elephant garlic, the giant ones.
Ah, elephant garlic. It's a perfect example of a misleading name. The cloves can be huge, like the size of a plum, but botanically it's not actually allium sativum.
So it's not true garlic.
No. It's actually a type of leek, and that explains why the flavor is so dramatically milder despite its enormous size.
Fascinating. Now let's get to the real core of this, the signature punch. That heat, that bite you get from garlic, it doesn't happen when the clove is just sitting there whole.
No, it only happens when you break it, when you crush it, chop it, mince it. What we're doing is we're basically hijacking its chemical defense system.
So how does that work? What's happening on a molecular level?
This is where it gets really cool. That intense flavor is the result of a very specific chemical reaction, the allicin reaction. Inside the undisturbed cells of the clove, you have two things kept separate. You have an enzyme called alliinase and a sulfur compound called allinase.
So they're just sitting there isolated from each other.
Exactly, isolated by the cell walls. But the moment you chop, crush, or chew the garlic, you break those walls. The allinase enzyme is released, and it immediately starts converting the alanine into a brand new, highly reactive molecule.
And that molecule is the famous allicin.
That is allicin. It's the superstar of the moment. But it's very unstable. It's responsible for that distinct, sharp flavor and for a lot of the immediate health effects. And that's why the flavor is most intense right after you cut it. You've just maxed out that reaction.
Which gives us a perfect explanation for why roasted garlic is so different. It loses that punch and becomes sweet.
Precisely. Heat denatures enzymes. When you roast a whole head of garlic, you destroy the alliinase enzyme before it ever gets a chance to mix with the alliinase. No enzyme, no reaction. No reaction, no allicin. You're just left with the natural sugars in the garlic, which then caramelize.
So beyond that pungent factor, garlic is also just a dense source of nutrition, right?
Yeah.
What are the core vitamins and minerals in there?
It is. I mean, the main story is definitely the sulfur compounds, but it's also rich in water-soluble micronutrients. We're talking about things like vitamin C, vitamin B6, manganese, selenium.
Selenium is a big one, a great antioxidant.
A potent one, yeah. And then you've got potassium, zinc, iron, and sodium. But like you said, the real medicinal power comes from those organosulfur compounds, or OSCs.
The OSCs are what make garlic, well, garlic. And our sources point to a critical precursor, something called, let's see if I can say this,
Right.
gamma-glutamyl L-cysteines.
Or GSS, thankfully.
Right, GSA. Why is that one so important to understand?
GSS is important because it's the stable form of the sulfur compound in the intact clove. It's what the plant stores safely. Think of it like the plant stored ammunition. It later gets converted into allicin. So GSI itself is believed to be responsible for a lot of garlic's long-term antimicrobial activity, even before you crush it. It's the foundation.
Okay, so we crush the clove, we generate that super reactive, unstable allicin. How does our body actually use it before it just breaks down? How bioavailable is it?
That is the million-dollar question, and it's where the story shifts from allicin to what comes next. Allicin is highly reactive, it doesn't last long, but our digestive system is pretty well equipped to handle it. It gets absorbed in the intestines.
Bypassing the stomach acid.
Right, which is key because that low pH would destroy it. Once it's absorbed into the bloodstream, it's quickly metabolized into more stable forms, primarily something called a dilute disulfide.
So allicin's the flash in the pan, and dilute disulfide is what actually does the work around the body.
That's a great way to put it. Dilute disulfide is the stable vehicle that gets transported to different organs. And what's more, our liver cells can actually interconvert allicin and these other metabolites, so it keeps a ready supply of the active compounds available. It's like a flexible chemical toolkit.
And we can't forget the carbohydrates in the bulb itself. They're not just for the plant.
No, not at all. The main carbohydrate in garlic is fructans. And what's fascinating is that our bodies can't digest fructans, so they travel all the way down to the colon completely intact.
Where they become food for our gut bacteria.
Exactly. They act as powerful prebiotics. And this direct link between garlic's composition and our gut health really sets the stage for all the systemic benefits we're about to talk about.
Okay, so with the chemistry mapped out, let's get into those validated clinical effects. Our sources detail some really specific, measurable impacts on some of the world's most common chronic diseases. Starting with, well, the big one, cardiovascular health.
This is, without a doubt, the most heavily researched area for garlic. And the benefits are really comprehensive. We're talking lipids, circulation, blood pressure, the works.
So let's start with lipid management. How does a simple bulb actually help manage cholesterol?
The research shows that garlic compounds actively inhibit some of the key enzymes in the liver that are involved in synthesizing cholesterol and other lipids.
And what does that translate to in terms of numbers?
It translates into a really substantial documented decrease in both total cholesterol and, more specifically, the dangerous LDL cholesterol, the bad one. In clinical trials, we see a drop in the range of 15 to 20%.
Wow, 15 to 20% that's significant. That's comparable to some mild pharmaceutical drugs, but just from a food.
It's a huge drop. And beyond just the cholesterol levels, it also affects circulation itself. The antioxidant properties are key here. They relieve oxidative stress in the cells, and crucially, they prevent something called platelet aggregation.
Which is when blood components start clumping together to form clots.
Exactly. So garlic acts as a sort of gentle blood thinner, helping to keep blood flowing smoothly and reducing the risk of a clot.
Okay, now let's focus on hypertension, high blood pressure.
Right.
The sources suggest garlic acts almost like a pharmacological drug here.
It's the dual mechanism that's so insightful. The key compounds, like allicin and the hydrogen sulfide that's generated from it, are potent vasodilators.
Meaning they relax the blood vessels.
Right. They signal the smooth muscles in the vessel walls to relax. When that happens, the vessels get wider and less rigid. That directly lowers your blood pressure.
Which is, again, similar to how many actual blood pressure medications work.
It is, and the clinical data is hard to argue with. One study we looked at involved hypertensive patients who were given a boiled single garlic water preparation for just 7 days.
Only 7 days. What was the impact?
The results were what scientists call highly significant, a p-value of 0.000, meaning basically zero chance this was random. In just 1 week, those patients saw their systolic blood pressure drop by an average of 15.4 points.
15 points. That's enough to move someone down a whole hypertension category.
It's transformative. And the diastolic drop by over 8 points. To get that kind of reduction from diet alone and so quickly is just, it's remarkable.
And that kind of action doesn't just help with short-term pressure. It must help prevent long-term damage, like atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries.
It does, and that's through a fascinating link back to the gut. Allicin actively inhibits the formation of a compound called TMAO.
TMAO.
Right. Trimethylamine N-oxide. It's an inflammatory compound that certain gut bacteria produce when they metabolize things like L-carnitine from red meat. High TMAO levels are strongly linked to atherosclerosis. So by blocking its formation, garlic adds this whole other layer of cardioprotection.
Amazing. Okay, let's shift from the circulatory system. Garlic has this ancient reputation as a sort of natural shield against getting sick.
It absolutely does. Allicin is a really effective antibacterial and antiseptic compound. It helps the body fight off colds, the flu, and some studies even show it has some pretty significant antiviral properties.
Is this just a general immune boost, or do we have data on it targeting specific nasty pathogens?
Oh, it's specific enough to be called bactericidal. The sources show it's effective against foodborne pathogens like E. coli and Salmonella. It even shows activity against some highly drug-resistant bacteria like Neisseria gonorrhea.
Wow.
So we're moving beyond just boosting your immune system into the realm of targeted antimicrobial action.
Let's connect this to inflammation. Our sources suggest that disulfide, that stable metabolite of allicin, can help with inflammatory conditions like asthma.
That's right. Asthma is at its core a disease of inflammation in the airways. Disulfide is a potent anti-inflammatory agent. It works by suppressing the effects of pro-inflammatory cytokines.
Those are the body's little alarm signals that can get out of control.
Exactly. By reining in those cytokines, garlic seems to play a powerful role in reducing the severity of asthma symptoms, offering relief from that inflammatory cascade.
Okay, what about metabolic health? Things like weight control and diabetes. This is a huge area of concern for millions of people.
And garlic seems to attack metabolic issues from a few different angles. First, just in terms of energy, it appears to speed up your metabolism, which helps you burn calories more efficiently.
And it also acts as an appetite suppressant.
Yes, it can induce a feeling of fullness or satiety, which naturally helps reduce how much you eat. So you've got less food coming in, and your body is burning through energy faster.
What about breaking down stored fat?
Allicin is key there again. It stimulates a process called lipolysis, which is just the breakdown of stored fats into fatty acids that can be used for energy. It also contributes to thermogenesis.
Which is literally the body producing heat.
Right, turning up your internal furnace. This helps with fat loss and can help prevent new weight gain. And there's even known about black garlic.
The aged garlic.
Yes. The compounds that form during that aging process, called melanoidins, have been shown to specifically inhibit fat from accumulating in the liver, which is a big deal for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
And for blood sugar regulation, diabetes, insulin resistance.
Garlic has been shown to help regulate blood sugar levels by improving insulin sensitivity. Aged garlic extract and the compound allicin have specifically been shown to make your cells more responsive to insulin.
Which means your body can clear sugar from your blood more effectively.
Exactly. It prevents those dangerous spikes and helps with overall glucose homeostasis.
It's incredible how systemic these benefits are. They seem to touch every part of the body, right down to cellular defense and even physical endurance.
They really do. Let's talk about detoxification. Garlic sulfur compounds are natural detoxifiers. They bind to harmful substances and help the liver flush out things like environmental toxins and even heavy metals.
So it's supporting the body's main cleanup crew.
Precisely. And on an even deeper level, it plays a role in preventing some cancers. The sulfur compounds help with DNA repair, and they can trigger something called apoptosis-programmed cell death in damaged or precancerous cells.
So helping to eliminate trouble spots before they can grow.
Yes, particularly in colorectal and skin carcinomas. It's about fortifying the cell against damage.
There's also a link to protecting the brain against age-related decline.
Absolutely. Oxidative damage is a huge factor in diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. The antioxidants in garlic help protect that delicate neural tissue. Studies have shown high doses of garlic can actually increase your body's own antioxidant enzymes.
I love this next part because it bridges ancient history with modern science. The sources talk about garlic as a performance enhancer.
It's a fantastic connection. In ancient Greece, they would literally give garlic to the Olympic athletes to boost their strength and stamina and reduce fatigue.
And we now have a scientific explanation for that.
We do. Modern studies support it. Daily garlic use has been shown to reduce exercise-induced fatigue. In one study with heart disease patients, it led to a 12% reduction in peak heart rate and improved their endurance. The ancient wisdom really lines up with our modern understanding.
Let's quickly touch on skin and eye health to round this section out.
For skin, allicin's antimicrobial properties come into play again, fighting acne-causing bacteria. And then, systemically, the antioxidants and anti-inflammatory effects just promote a healthier complexion from the inside out.
And the link to the eyes is really compelling. It involves an antioxidant protein that people spend a fortune on in supplements, glutathione.
That's a key insight. Glutathione is an absolutely essential antioxidant, especially for the health of the lens of the eye. And garlic is crucial for the body's own natural production of it because it provides the necessary sulfur building blocks.
So instead of taking an expensive supplement, eating garlic helps your body make its own.
That's the idea. It's often a more integrated and cost-effective way to achieve that antioxidant defense. Nature provides the tools for the body to maintain its own balance.
Okay, if that last section was about treating symptoms, this next part is about getting to the root cause, because it seems like everything leads back to the gut. The sources position garlic as a powerful modulator of the gut microbiome.
That's exactly right. And its effect isn't random. It's described as selectively modulating the gut. It enhances the good microbes while suppressing the pathogenic or bad ones. And that rebalancing act is crucial for everything from inflammation to metabolism.
Let's start with the prebiotic action. You mentioned the fructans earlier. That's the food for the good bacteria.
Exactly. The fructans in garlic are powerful prebiotics. They've been shown to specifically promote the growth of vital probiotic bacteria, especially bifidobacterium.
And a healthy population of bifidobacterium is linked to what?
All sorts of good things. A lower risk of colon cancer, better mineral absorption, and a reduction in symptoms of inflammatory bowel disease. It's a classic case of feeding the good guys.
But a question comes to mind. If garlic is so strongly antibacterial, doesn't it just kill everything, good and bad?
That's a great question, and it gets to the really elegant biology here. What's fascinating is that some of the most crucial probiotics, like lactobacilli, have shown a unique inherent resistance to garlic's compounds.
So they can survive the onslaught, so to speak.
They can. They seem to have a different cell wall structure or enzyme system that protects them, so they can thrive even when you're consuming garlic. This selectivity is vital because lactobacilli form that protective barrier in your gut.
That is targeted modulation. So it kills the bad guys while leaving the good guys alone. The sources also talk a lot about short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs.
SCFAs are probably the most important end product of a healthy gut. They're metabolites, like butyrate, that your gut bacteria produce when they ferment fiber, like the fructans from garlic.
And why are they so important? What do they do?
Butyrate, for example, is the primary food source for the cells that line your colon. It literally feeds your gut lining. But beyond that, SCFAs have powerful anti-inflammatory effects throughout your entire body. They're the unsung heroes of metabolic health.
And this all comes full circle when we look at how garlic consumption can actually change the gut environment to help with things like weight loss.
It does. The align in garlic has been shown to increase the population of a specific bacterium called Alobaculum. And this little guy plays a specific role in utilizing glucose more efficiently. So a change in your gut flora directly links to better blood sugar control.
Another key marker for an unhealthy gut is the Firmicutes to Bacteroides ratio, the FB ratio.
Right. A high FB ratio is often seen in people who are obese or eating a typical high-fat Western diet. Firmicutes bacteria are just more efficient at extracting calories from your food.
So they make you absorb more calories from the same meal.
Essentially, yes. And garlic consumption has been shown to reduce that ratio, shifting the balance away from those energy-hoarding bacteria.
What about specific bad actors? Does it help eliminate any well-known pathogens?
It does. It actively reduces species like Desulfovibrio, which is linked to ulcerative colitis and other nasty infections. And as we mentioned, it also targets common threats like E. coli and Salmonella. It's pruning the garden, letting the healthy plants flourish.
And finally, let's revisit hydrogen sulfide, H2S. We said it was good for circulation, but it's also key for the gut.
It's hugely important. The sulfur compounds in garlic are H2S donors. And in the gut, H2S acts as a strong anti-inflammatory and protects against damage from things like NSAID painkillers or alcohol. It even helps restore and heal damaged intestinal tissue. It's a foundational protective element.
Okay, we have covered the science, the why. Now let's get practical. How do you actually prepare this stuff to get the benefits. Many of the studies use garlic water.
They do, and the preparation method really matters because it affects how much of that active allicin you're actually going to get.
Let's go through the three main methods our sources laid out. The first is a simple steeping method.
Right. This one minimizes heat, so you preserve more of those volatile compounds. You take about 3 cloves, crush them well to get that reaction started, pour boiled hot water over them, cover it, and let it cool.
And drink it on an empty stomach for best absorption.
Exactly. And the taste is, wow, it's intense. So you can add a tablespoon of lemon juice and honey to make it more palatable.
Okay, method 2 involves a short boil. But wait, if heat destroys the enzyme, why would you boil it?
That's a great question. While heat does destroy the allanase enzyme, boiling might help extract and stabilize some of the other more water-soluble sulfur compounds that form after the initial reaction. So the goal is slightly different.
How does that one work?
You chop about 3 cloves, put them in already boiling water, and boil for just 5 minutes. Then cool, add honey if you want, and drink it on an empty stomach.
And the third method is the most intensive, involving blending and an overnight soak.
Right, this is about maximizing extraction. You blend 3 to 5 cloves with water, and then crucially, you let it sit overnight. This allows the water to absorb everything, but because it sat overnight, you have to boil it for about 3 minutes before drinking just to sanitize it.
For those of us who need something a bit quicker for a morning routine, there's a simplified method too.
Yes, the quick soak. This one prioritizes that fresh burst of allicin. You just peel and crush 1 or 2 cloves really well. Remember, crushing is the key. Add them to about 8 ounces of water and just let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes.
And then strain the bits out before you drink it.
Exactly. Strain them out, drink it down. The main takeaway from all of these methods is really about 2 things: consistency and moderation. You have to do it regularly to see a real systemic change.
We absolutely have to shift gears now. Garlic is powerful, and we have to respect that. The sources provide some major critical medical warnings.
This is a really important section because garlic has those antithrombotic properties. It thins the blood. The National Institute of Health specifically advises that high doses can increase the risk of bleeding.
So who is most at risk here?
2 main groups. First, anyone taking prescribed blood thinners like warfarin. You must talk to your doctor before upping your garlic intake because the interaction can be dangerous. Second, anyone scheduled for surgery. You have to stop taking garlic supplements for high doses, usually 7 to 10 days before any procedure to prevent excessive bleeding.
And it can interfere with other medications too, right?
Yes, particularly some drugs used to treat HIV infection. So again, if you're on any specialized medication, you have to have that conversation with your doctor before starting a high-dose garlic regimen.
And dosage really matters here.
It matters a lot. A normal healthy intake is maybe 1 to 2 cloves a day. But if you're eating large amounts, say 4 more cloves daily, you're significantly increasing that bleeding risk.
Okay, let's move from the critical warnings to the more common side effects. First and foremost, garlic breath.
The unforgettable side effect. It's all because of those volatile sulfur compounds we talked about. They can metabolize slowly, are released through your lungs, and even your pores. It's much worse with raw garlic. Cooking, thankfully, reduces those specific compounds.
And for a lot of people, garlic can cause some serious digestive upset.
This goes back to the fructans. Garlic is very high in them. And for people who are sensitive, their gut bacteria ferment those fructans very rapidly, which can cause a lot of gas, bloating, and stomach pain.
That's why it's a major trigger food for people with IBS or those on a low FODMA diet.
Exactly. It's a common culprit. And finally, there's a link to acid reflux, or GERD.
Have that happen.
The same muscle relaxing effect that helps your blood vessels can also relax the sphincter at the top of your stomach, the LES. When that loosens, stomach acid can splash back up into your esophagus, causing heartburn.
Now for what is maybe the most serious food safety warning in this entire deep dive. Storing fresh garlic in oil at room temperature.
This is non-negotiable. This is a life or death food safety issue. Storing fresh or even roasted garlic in oil at room temperature creates the perfect anaerobic environment for a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum to grow.
And that bacterium produces the botulinum toxin.
The deadliest substance known to man. The conditions are perfect. Low acid from the garlic, no oxygen because of the oil, and a warm room temperature. This is not theoretical. There have been multiple fatal outbreaks of botulism traced directly back to homemade garlic in oil mixtures.
So if you want to make garlic-infused oil at home, what is the only safe way to do it?
You either have to use it immediately or you have to freeze it immediately. You cannot store it at room temperature or even in the fridge for more than a few days. The only way to make it shelf-stable is through a precise acidification process.
Can you walk us through that? It sounds like you have to be very careful.
You have to be incredibly precise. The process, developed by places like the University of Idaho Extension, involves soaking the chopped garlic in a 3% citric acid solution for 24 hours to lower the pH to a safe level before you put it in oil. You have to follow a tested, verified recipe. You cannot guess with this.
Okay, what about just storing whole bulbs of garlic at home?
If you grow your own, you have to cure it first. That means drying the bulbs in a well-ventilated spot for a few weeks to prevent rot.
And once it's cured, where's the best place to keep it?
A cool, dry, dark, well-ventilated place. A pantry in a mesh bag is perfect. Definitely avoid the refrigerator for long-term storage. The cold and humidity make it sprout.
And if you do want to freeze it, especially with oil,
The safest way is to make a puree of 2 parts oil to 1 part garlic. Portion it out. Ice cube trays are great for this, and freeze it immediately. Do not let it sit out. Freezing stops the botulism spores from growing. Wow. We have covered a huge amount of ground today, from Hippocrates all the way to modern molecular biology. The main takeaway for me is that garlic's value is so much more than just flavor. It's a powerful alliaci whose compounds can modulate cardiovascular risk, support metabolism, and maybe most importantly, completely rebalance your gut microbiome.
for me, the most incredible part of this deep dive was the simple chemistry of preparing it. The idea that all this ancient wisdom is being validated by modern science is one thing, but to learn that the critical health benefits are only unlocked by a physical action, the act of crushing the clove and breaking the cell wall to trigger that align to allicin conversion, that's just amazing.
That physical action is the key that unlocks its therapeutic potential. It's an incredible piece of natural engineering.
So here's our final thought for you, the learner, to consider as you make your next meal. If preparing garlic requires a physical crush to unleash compounds that relax your blood vessels and descend your cells, what other undiscovered molecule unleashing techniques might be hiding in plain sight in our other common herbs and spices? What simple actions are we missing, just waiting for science to catch up with traditional wisdom? That's something to chew on.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
We'll catch you next time.